Today we are answering one of the most terrifying questions in aviation. What would happen if someone opened a plane door mid-air? 38,000 feet above the ground, 900 kilometers per hour, 270 passengers, and one guy who suddenly decides he would like some fresh air. This sounds impossible, like something that only happens in action movies, but here's the crazy part. People actually try. In 2023, a passenger on an Asiana Airlines flight in South Korea pulled the emergency exit door during landing. The door opened at 200 miles per hour. Wind blasted through the cabin. Passengers were screaming, hair flying everywhere. Some people could barely breathe. And the man who opened it later told police he just felt frustrated and wanted to get off the plane faster. Now imagine that same idea, but instead of landing, we are at 38,000 feet in the middle of the ocean, and seat 24C has just stood up and is walking toward the emergency exit. This is where things get interesting. 38,000 feet above the ocean, 7 hours from New York to Paris. The cabin lights are dim. Most passengers are watching movies. Someone in row 18 has been asleep for so long that people are starting to wonder if he lives here now. Everything is calm. Then seat 24C stands up, slowly. He stretches, looks down the aisle, the way people do when they are deciding if they should go to the bathroom or just wait another hour. But seat 24C is not going to the bathroom. He walks forward, stops next to the emergency exit, and stares at the door. Now here's the thing about airplane doors. They are big, they are dramatic, they have large handles and warning labels that say things like emergency use only, which for certain people creates curiosity. Seat 24C places his hand on the handle and pulls. Nothing happens. He pulls again, still nothing. Now he uses both hands. The door does not move. Not a click, not a vibration. Because at cruising altitude, something invisible is holding that door shut. Pressure. The air inside the cabin is pushing against the door with about 4 tons of force. To open it, you would need the strength of a small elephant. Seat 24C is not a small elephant. Seat 24C struggled earlier with a carry-on bag that weighed 9 kilograms. The door stays closed, always. You could bring 10 passengers, or the entire row. You could bring the guy who says he does CrossFit. The door would still stay shut. Physics wins every time. Seat 24C stands there for a moment, thinking, then slowly returns to his seat. The door has won, and the flight continues peacefully over the Atlantic. Seat 24C walks back to his seat, but the cabin has already noticed. Row 23 stopped their movie. Row 24 is staring. Row 25 is whispering. Did that guy just try to open the door? Someone presses the call button, then another. Within seconds, the overhead panel above the rows looks like a Christmas tree that is extremely concerned. A flight attendant arrives. Calm, very calm. The kind of calm you develop after years of watching passengers do strange things at 38,000 feet. Sir, were you trying to open the emergency exit? Seat 24C shakes his head. No, I was just checking. Checking, as if checking emergency exits is part of the passenger experience. The flight attendant smiles politely. Sir, please remain seated. Seat 24C sits down. 2 very large passengers from row 30 suddenly decide they would like to sit closer to him. They don't say anything, they just sit there, watching. Seat 24C is now the most supervised passenger on the plane. The cabin slowly relaxes. Movies resume. Snacks reopen. The man in row 18 continues snoring like he is being paid for it. Crisis over, or at least everyone thinks it is. Because there is one moment during a flight when that door actually could open, and it's not at 38,000 feet. It's later, during landing, when the pressure disappears, and someone else stands up. 6 hours later, the Atlantic Ocean is behind them. The plane begins descending toward Paris. The cabin lights turn on. People wake up. Seatbelts click. Phones appear even though airplane mode is still very much required. The captain's voice comes over the speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have begun our descent. Passengers stretch, close their movies, start mentally preparing for the slowest process in aviation, getting off the airplane. Seat 24C has been quiet for 6 hours, mostly because the 2 large passengers from row 30 never moved. But now, someone else stands up. Seat 30A. He looks tired. Very tired. The kind of tired where your brain starts suggesting ideas that normally would never exist. He walks slowly down the aisle, stops next to the emergency exit, places his hand on the handle. 3 rows away, a flight attendant notices. Her brain runs the same calculation as before. Passenger, exit door, hand on handle. Not good, because this time the plane is not at 38,000 feet anymore. The aircraft is descending. The pressure difference is shrinking, which means the giant invisible force holding the door shut is slowly disappearing. And this time, when seat 30A pulls the handle, the door actually moves. The door moves, just a little, enough to make a heavy metallic thump, and suddenly everyone nearby understands something very important. That door is not supposed to move. Seat 30A pulls again, and this time the door swings open. Oh no! Instantly, the cabin explodes with wind. Not a gentle breeze, a full hurricane. Air roars into the plane at more than 250 kilometers per hour. Hair flies everywhere. Loose napkins disappear instantly. Someone's magazine is gone in half a second. One passenger grabs their seat like the plane just hit turbulence. Another passenger grabs their friend. A third passenger grabs a bag of peanuts that is now traveling towards Spain. The noise is deafening. People are shouting, but nobody can hear anything. A flight attendant holds onto a seat and starts yelling instructions. Seat 30A immediately realizes something. Fresh air at 700 feet per second was maybe not the best idea. But the airplane is still flying, because modern airliners are designed for situations like this. The pilots in the cockpit already know what happened. Alarms are going off. Wind noise fills the cabin. But the aircraft continues descending toward the runway, because now there is only one goal: get the plane on the ground as fast as possible. The wind keeps roaring through the cabin. Passengers hold onto their seats. Hair is flying everywhere. Someone in row 28 has given up trying to fix their hairstyle completely. The flight attendants are shouting instructions, but the plane is still flying, because even with the door open, the aircraft is designed to stay in the air. Up in the cockpit, the pilots focus on one thing: landing. The runway appears ahead. The plane descends, lower and lower. Then finally, the wheels hit the ground. The moment the aircraft slows down, the wind disappears. Silence. The strangest silence of the entire flight. Passengers look at each other. Some are laughing. Some are shocked. One man is still holding the same napkin he grabbed 5 minutes ago like it saved his life. The plane rolls to a stop. Airport vehicles are already waiting, and seat 30A is escorted off the aircraft by airport security very quickly. He looks exhausted, possibly wishing he had simply stayed in his seat like everyone else. Inside the cabin, passengers finally start talking again. Everyone has the same sentence: "You will not believe what just happened on this flight." And for once, they are absolutely right. Everyone looks a little different than when they boarded. Hair everywhere, jackets twisted. Phones reconnect. Messages start going out immediately. "You will not believe what just happened on my flight." Seat 30A does not join the line. Airport security arrives first. They walk him off the plane very politely, very firmly. People laugh. Someone says, "Next time I'm taking the train." And somewhere behind them, that emergency exit door is closed again, exactly where it should be. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing on an airplane, it's one very tired passenger who just wanted a little fresh air. But now I am curious. What do you think would have been flying out of the cabin first? The napkins? The snacks? Someone's laptop? Or the guy from row 18 who slept through the entire thing? Let me know in the comments. So until next time, fasten your seatbelt, never even think about opening the door, and subscribe for more mid-air chaos.